But when you see the desolating sacrilege set up where it ought not to be, then those in Judea must flee to the mountains. The one in the house must not go down or enter the house to take anything away. The one in the field must not turn back to get a coat. Woe to those who are pregnant and to those who are nursing infants in those days. Pray that it may not be in winter. For in those days there will be a suffering such as not been from the beginning of the creation that God created until now. No, and never will be. Right? When the apocalypse comes, if you're out in the field, you're just going to turn and run. You're not going to have time to go back into the house and get your coat. You better pray it's not in wintertime because you'll freeze to death. Because you're not, it's going to be so apocalyptic, it's going to be so crazy, you're just going to turn tail and run. If you're carrying a child, it's going to be even worse for you. And if the Lord had not cut short those days, no one would be saved. But for the sake of the elect whom He chose, He cut short those days. So because He wants to save some of you jerks, He's going to make those times shorter than they might have otherwise have been. But if anyone says to you at that time, look, here's the Messiah, or look, there He is, do not believe it. False messiahs and false prophets will appear and produce signs and omens to lead you astray. So there will be false prophets, false messiahs, right? A couple of weeks ago I told you guys there were prophets and messiahs rising up all the time in the first century. In those days, after that suffering, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. And the stars will be falling from heaven, and the powers in the heavens will be shaken. And they will see the Son of Man coming in clouds with great power and glory. Then He will send out the angels and gather His elect from the four winds, from the ends of the earth to the ends of heaven. So there's going to be this apocalypse come, and there's going to be a cloud, and the Son of Man is going to be there, and He's going to send His angels to gather the good people when the apocalypse comes. Now, when's this going to happen? He's giving you some vague clues. What are some predictors? Rumors of wars, false prophets, false messiahs. Does He give anything more specific than that? Look in the next passage. From the fig tree, this is verse 28. From the fig tree learn its lesson. As soon as its branch becomes tender and puts forth its leaves, you know that summer is near. Right? The fig tree, when it grows, as soon as the leaves come, you know it's going to be springtime or summertime. So also, when you see these things take place, you know that He is near at the very gates. Truly I tell you, this generation will not pass away until all these things have taken place. This generation, what does He mean by this generation?
Apocalypse, or like the people.
Yeah, He's talking. The people who are living now, this generation of people will not pass away before the apocalypse comes. So He gives one specific. When will it come?
Is He implying that it would be soon?
Yeah. Like a generation lasts 70 years? It's going to be soon.
Then wouldn't it have already happened?
What's that?
Or is He saying the generation during the time that it was written, or the generation that when it starts?
Here, Jesus is narrating around the year 30. So He's saying this generation, He says, truly I tell you, this generation will not pass away. Now, I'm looking for the other passage where He says this generation, because He says it twice in the Gospel of Mark. Yeah, He foretells His death. Look at chapter 9, verse 1. He's even more detailed here in chapter 9, verse 1. He said, I will die, and the Son of Man will come back 9 verse 1, and he said to them, "Truly I tell you, there are some standing here who will not taste death until they see that the kingdom of God has come with power." Some of you guys will not die before this happens. Now, to your knowledge, is that true? Are you aware of the apocalypse having come and gone in the first century?